What's up, guys? So this video, I'm going to call it Get It Now. Okay, Get It Now. And this is inspired by one of my client who I just helped them get a new policy. Obviously, it's a life insurance policy, but because of their age, it was very complicated. So I'm going to go over three things. The top first thing is buy in increments. Second is buy it now, kids take over later. And then the third point is overpay. Okay. So buying increments, what that means is, so this particular policy, I did a $300,000. It's a permanent policy. And at age 30, you're looking at $78 a month. Okay. So buy in increments, that means you don't got to buy the whole 300K. You can buy 100K now, and then a couple years buy another 100K, and then another couple years buy another 100K. The reason I say that is because in my previous job, the management is always pushing, hey man, get that $1 million policy, and a lot of myself included, and my coworkers were always shooting for that $1 million policy. But I start to see a trend that, these $1 million policy obviously going to cost more. So within a year, 2 years, 3 years, the clients, they can't make those payments. It's high. So I started to just do increments for them. Like I just do increment plans for them. So I'll say, hey man, you don't got to do $1 million or 500K. Let's start with what you can get now, okay? And then in a couple years, if you get promoted, naturally we get paid more as we get older, or we stay longer in our careers. So once you get more promotion, once you get paid more, you get your pay raises, then we can start looking into getting more later in the future. But do it in increments. That way you can manage the payments, and that way you're keeping the policies. All right. Number two, buy now, kids take over payments later. And I think I've talked about this before in the previous video, but let me explain, okay? So let's say you buy now and you're age 30, you're buying it now, 300K, it's $78 a month, okay? It's $78 a month, it's that price is locked in forever, okay? Now when you retire, let's say like a 60 or 65, whatever the retirement age is for you, and you're like, hey, you know what? I'm retired, I have fixed income, I'm trying to eliminate some of these bills, and you can, at this point, your kids are, maybe older now, and you can have them take over payments. So $70 for your children shouldn't be that hard to do. I mean, it's more manageable than if they were to get a policy for you, the same amount, 300K at age 60, that's $388. So that's 5 times the payment. That's not even looking into inflation, all right? So, for you to buy it now and then just have them take over later, it's like they are taking over your house, or they're taking over a payment, but that payment is still locked in. So they'll still only be paying the $78. All right. So hopefully that makes sense. Now I say that because my personal experience is my parents asked us, the kids, to buy their policy for them. When they were already closer to their 50s, I think late 40s. My dad might have been 50 already at that point, and we could not make those payments because even a 200K for my parents each, we were looking at almost $400 a month. And I don't know if it was because of health reasons. I was much younger at that point, so I don't know why it was quoted so high, but I myself couldn't pay it. My parents couldn't pay it. So my siblings and I, we had to get together and put our heads together and just made a agreement that, hey, you know what, we're going to split the payments. Everybody pays a little bit, and we've been doing this for the last 10 plus years. So that's how we've been able to manage it. But had my parents gotten something locked in their 20s or 30s, we wouldn't have this issue. And then later when my parents, are older and they can't make that payment anymore, then yeah, we can take over the payments, but it would have been like a much lower premium. But it is what it is. Sometimes we learn that way. All right, last part is overpay. So I think I talked about this also in one of my other videos. So if you overpay it up to a certain point, it starts paying itself. All right, so let me explain. So just using that same example, 300K permanent life policy at $78 a month, right? So instead of doing 78, if you do $100 a month, it's like you're putting more into it. Kind of like you're putting more into even like a house. If you pay a house payment, you're putting more into the equity. You're paying more into like future payments. So by doing that, by the time you're age 60 and doing the $100 a month instead of the $78 a month, that's only like $23, $22 extra. By age 60, you can stop making payments. Nobody has to take over payments because you've overfunded the policy in a way. You've paid more than you had to, but by doing that, it becomes self-sustaining. So at age 60, you don't got to make another payment. So your kids don't got to make any more payments. You don't have to make any more payments. The policy's paid for in a sense. All right. So hopefully that also makes sense. I'll try to show the math up here, like, buying at age 60 compared to buying at age 30, that sort of thing. And, so again, going back to the client that inspired this video, the kids, they had to come together and they called me to see what I can do to help them to get a policy for their parents. And I initially quoted them, like a lower amount, but because of the parents' medical issues, I think it went from like $200 a month to like $500 a month, and it was just way out of their budget. So we had to do some structuring. We had to fix the face mount so that it will lower the premium for them. But it shouldn't be our kids' responsibility to get life insurance for us. We need to do better. We need to be able to budget these things so that it helps our kids in the future. It helps ourselves in the future. All right. So hopefully that made sense, and I'll see you at the next one.